Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Moved to Orlando, a special series that we're doing where we chat with folks who have made the move into Central Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined, as always, by real estate agent with Keller Williams at the Parks, Sean Falk.
Hi.
And our guest this week, Mr. Kevin Lundy.
Hello, everyone.
So before we get started, just a reminder to folks, if you are planning or thinking about moving to Central Florida, please check out our website, movingtoorlando.com. You can also check out our Facebook group by the same name. If you would like to speak with a real estate agent about any questions you have or helping you look for homes here in Central Florida, you can reach out to Sean. It's Sean, S-E-A-N, at movingtoorlando.com, or you can just send an email to admin@movingtoorlando.com. And of course, on the website, there are contact forms there as well. So with that out of the way, Kevin, thank you for taking the time to come talk to us. Why don't you start out just by telling us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Well, I moved to Orlando about a month ago, starting at the beginning of March. Took a job as an emergency dispatcher for Orange County Fire Rescue. We had been looking to move for about 3 years, so the opportunity finally arose, and myself and my family, my wife, my 2 kids, who are 5 and 3, moved down, and we're pretty happy to be down here.
Where did you move from?
We moved from Grand Rapids, Michigan, which is in the Lower Peninsula on the southwest side.
Okay, so different weather.
Absolutely different weather. Grand Rapids is the second gloomiest place in the U.S. behind Seattle. So
really, I would have put. I don't think those people that make that determination have ever been to Newark, but we'll leave that for another discussion. So you've just made this move.
Yes.
So obviously, since we're not in the studio, people are probably, some people may be watching this a while from now. We're doing our shows via Skype because of coronavirus and social distancing. So interesting time for you.
Yes, absolutely.
To be making this move.
Not ideal. Definitely was not expecting the world's feet to fall out from under it while we were trying to make our move.
And what area of town did you move into?
We are just east of Winter Park, kind of in the Baldwin Park area. I know that's not a real well-known part of town, but we're right over there.
You're not far from me. I'm in the Conway area.
Okay, yeah.
Just outside of downtown. So are you renting or did you buy?
We are renting a 3-bedroom, 2-bath apartment.
Okay. And talk to me about that process. How long were you thinking about making this move?
Sure. We've been looking to move for about 3 years now, so it's been a very long process. Something that when we decided to make the move, we obviously wanted to get out of the weather. We knew that Florida was going to be a very different change of pace, and we wanted to be fully prepared for that. So what we wanted to make sure that we had lined up was a job that was going to support us, especially having 2 young kids. We didn't want to jump in blind. So we really started doing the job hunt about 3 years ago, and it took us that long to find something that we were finally happy with moving down here for.
Now, obviously, if you're on our sites and stuff like that, you're a Disney fan.
Yes.
So, when was your first visit to Disney World?
I've been here since I was born. Basically, my mother grew up in Florida. So we've been down every year or every other year doing vacations to Florida. She actually grew up across the street from someone who was very high up in the Disney parks. So we were able to get into the parks free. So we definitely took advantage of that, and we were definitely down here every year or 2 years. I ended up coming to Florida for college right after high school at Florida Tech in Melbourne, which is on the east coast of Florida. Fell in love with living here and then moved back up to Michigan to marry my wife. And we spent about 10 years up there, and I said I couldn't do the blizzards and snow 6 months out of the year anymore. So that's when she was finally agreed. Yep, it's time to move.
I believe this is the fourth or fifth one of these shows that we've recorded now. And the one thing all of them have in common, other than the fact that everybody's a Disney fan, is everybody said, hate winter, hate the cold, hate
Absolutely.
the cold.
Absolutely.
And everybody's from the north, right? Everybody we've talked to, you're the first one from Michigan, but we've had Pennsylvania, we've had New York, we've had Connecticut, New Jersey. So yeah, it's like everybody looking to get out of Dodge.
Yes. Not only just the snow, but it's also the cold. It's also the gloominess. Like I said, Grand Rapids is a very gloomy city, so we knew that just for the sake of our mental health alone, having sunshine most days was going to be a huge benefit.
That's another thing that it's funny. The more of these we do, it's another thing that comes up. And I think back to when I moved down here from New Jersey, where it's sunny for a few months and then it's gray. And it was the same thing. It was like I just wanted to get out of the gray and get away from that. And that was a big appeal to me coming down here. I want to let Sean jump in here with some questions.
Yeah, I actually completely agree with what you were saying about Michigan. I used my old job. I used to drive the country a lot, so I've been to like 41 states at this point. So I have been up to Michigan multiple times. Everyone does the, what part of Michigan are you from? And they're like, well, if it's like this, like that's where you go. So, nice. So I have spent a good amount of time there, and I've never thought about it. It is extremely gloomy now that I think back. Like I don't ever remember a sunny day anytime I've been in that general range. So yeah, you were completely right there. One of the big things that people write in and ask about, especially on our Facebook group, Orlando, is about getting a job. And it is a thing of, do you get the job before you move? Do you move and then try to get a job? Like, which route do you go? How did you guys go about looking for a job here?
Sure. I had a very, very specific career path that I wanted to follow. I was looking for something that I could stick with long term. Mm-hmm. So that was one of the requirements that I was looking for. So I knew that I had a background in communications. I began looking for communications jobs. Obviously, there are several different municipalities in the Orlando area that I looked at. I looked at Reedy Creek. I looked at Orlando Fire Department, Seminole County, Lake County, and through my applications into all of those. But being governmental bodies, the process takes a little longer than most normal private business. So that was part of the reason it took so long to find. My wife was also searching for a job. She does a lot of call center work as well. Mm-hmm. So it was definitely, looking at Indeed, looking at LinkedIn, trying to connect with people, trying to get that network going. I reached out to my alma mater and asked if there were people who had made the move from Grand Rapids to Orlando. Made contact with a few of those people. So it was definitely a long process that I was surprised it took so long, especially the interview process for, like I said, these governmental bodies.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
There's a lot of, there are a lot of places here where people apply. They're like, we want to go ahead and move down. And I let them know in my, on my cover letter or, my cover sheet or whatever, that I don't live in Florida, but like as soon as I get a job, like if you hire me, I'll move immediately. Mm-hmm. And having talked to a lot of people, they're like, okay, we throw those out right away because we're not interested in that. And it's tough because it's like, how do you balance between the two?
Sure.
I previously used to work at a long time ago. I worked with Robert Half, which is like a temp agency. And they do have a branch for that here. So that was, when I was moving, that was one of my backups, was like, well, I know I could do temp work, I guess, if I just need to. But it sounds like it was good for y'all to have a plan more.
Sure. Yeah, and we went through, I went through 100 different applications, 10 to 20 different interviews.
Mhm.
And I actually turned down a few different job offers just because they weren't the right fit for us.
Mhm.
So it was definitely something that, even though those jobs came available, I didn't necessarily want to take them because they wouldn't be the right fit for my family. So that's another thing to
And,
look out for.
yeah, one of the things I've been asking everybody in these interviews, and especially for you, because your prep time to make the move was long. It was 3 years. And being a Disney fan, um, what did you find to be the differences between your expectations of moving to Florida and the reality once you lived here?
Sure. Definitely the length of time it took us to get into position to be able to make the move. I would also say, when you look at a map, Orlando's just a kind of a blip. And when you're a vacationer and a tourist, you come down, you're at MCO or Sanford, and you drive onto property. You stay there for the week, and you drive back to MCO or Sanford. But when you come down here and look at the city and think about where your job is located in the city, think about what kind of amenities are going to be around you. Think about the good areas, the bad areas. Orlando's a big city, and I came from suburbs, so not a whole lot of driving. It took me 10 minutes to get to work. When I came down to start looking for apartments, it took me 45 minutes from the place I was staying at in a hotel to where my job is. So that was definitely a huge kind of, it's going to take me a lot longer to commute because this city is bigger than I expected it to be.
There's a lot of sprawl. I mean, Orlando itself technically is not that big. It's Orange County that's big, and
Sure.
You've got a lot of towns. We say Orlando, right, because that's what everybody knows, but there's Horizon West, there's Dr. Phillips, Windermere, Baldwin Park, where you are, the Conway area where I am. These are all, we're in Orlando, Baldwin Park and Conway, that's Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get to some of these other towns, it's weird. I came from New Jersey, and we had counties and we had towns, and everything was it's very neat. It's not like that here. It's just kind of
No,
a little confusing until you get down here.
All kind of jumbled together. One thing I find so funny is that if I have to go 5 miles, it's going to take me at least 20 minutes. If I have to 20 miles, but it's on the highway, it's going to take me at least 20 to 30 minutes. So it's kind of one of those things of living in the city. The traffic on kind of the major roads does kind of match out that highway driving where you are. It doesn't matter how far you're going. It's going to take you at least 20, 30 minutes to get there.
And, it's funny because it takes me, depending time of day of week, it'll take me anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour to get on the property. If it takes me an hour, 30 minutes of that is just spent on Conway.
Yep.
Getting to the Greenway.
Yep.
And, and then the other 30 minutes is getting to Disney.
Right.
And you're absolutely right. It just seems to be divided up like that, depending on which what kind of roads you're taking.
Sure.
Now, are you
Now,
happy in Baldwin Park? Or I'm sorry, are you pretty happy in Baldwin Park, or would you recommend that area to other people?
I love this area. I think it's kind of the best of both worlds because we're just outside of Winter Park and kind of the nicer, more well-established part of town. It's a little cheaper, but we're not necessarily in the rundown area that you can get on this side of town. So I think we found the sweet spot right between a good neighborhood and kind of the not as well off neighborhood. Another thing I would say about differences between Orlando and my idea of Orlando is this city is a lot more culturally and regionally diverse because there are so many tourists here and because so many people have transplanted from other places in the country. there are a lot of food options that I just didn't have access to in my part of the country, which is amazing because I love trying new food and new experiences. So that was really cool for me.
Absolutely. I mean, there's some, when you get outside outside the tourist corridor, there are some phenomenal restaurants. There are some phenomenal restaurants in downtown Orlando. Winter Park has some tremendous, the Ravenous Pig. I don't know if you've tried that place yet, but that is one of my favorite places to eat in Winter Park. But you're right. And, you've got a section on Colonial that is all Thai food. Some great Thai restaurants, really inexpensive, but the food is absolutely phenomenal. You're right. There is a lot of diversity in the type of food and just the culture in general that you'll find all around. What I'm realizing as I'm talking to you, since you've only been here since the beginning of March, and we're in lockdown right now as this is being recorded, you haven't been able to go to the parks, have you?
We snuck in. We bought our annual passes 4 days before they announced the parks were shutting down. So we snuck in 2 days. I was actually able to get over to Epcot Flower and Garden and get my Orange Bird T-shirt, which I was really happy with. But yeah, we were super bummed. We had just bought those passes, and then 4 days later, it was nope, nobody's coming in.
All right, so let me ask you the question: as soon as the parks open up again, what's the first thing you want to do?
Get a Dole Whip. I think get on property and get a Dole Whip. I know it's cliche, but it's just one of those staples that I have.
It's what we do.
Yep. Yeah.
It may be cliche, but it's what we do. Yep. Sean, did you have something? Looks like you were getting ready to say something.
No.
No? Okay. So I really can't ask you how your Disney experience has changed since you moved here because you haven't been able to have a Disney experience yet. But what suggestions would you give to people who are thinking about making this move down to Central Florida?
Don't do it on a whim. Make a plan. Do your research. Come up with goals. Something that really helped my family is at the 6-month mark, we want to have this, and this done. At the 1 month mark, we want to have this done. At 2 weeks, we want to make sure that we've got our water taken care of and our rents good to go, and we've got our truck lined up. That's another thing. Depending on when you move, the cost of either renting a truck or getting a full service move is going to change drastically. There was a time we were going to move in the fall, and something just didn't work out. And we got a quote for a Penske truck for $600 and some odd. And then I went back to the same company to move in the spring, and it was now $1,500 to rent that same truck. So it was a huge difference, and that was very, very much sticker shock for me. I was not expecting that at all.
Wow. Now, are you planning to buy, or are you going to rent for a while and research areas? What's your strategy there?
Sure. We are hoping to rent for a year. We have a 15-month lease lined up, so our lease will come up at the end of May next year. We are hoping to buy hopefully closer to Disney property. My HQ is kind of on this side of town, so that commute will be longer. When you look at Davenport or Four Corners or even Claremont or Winter Garden, that commute can kind of get lengthy, especially at rush hour times. So we have to find the right place to buy. Sarah is also looking for work, so it will depend on where she is able to pick up a job as well. But yes, we are looking to buy at the end of our lease. Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for taking time to chat with us about your experience. A reminder to folks, again, please check out our website, movingtoorlando.com, as well as our Moving to Orlando Facebook group. And if you need to talk to a real estate agent, Sean at movingtoorlando.com is the email address to reach Sean. So that will do it for our show. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you again next time.